In this video, we're going to go behind the scenes and show you how the RAG Kickstart is set up, configured, some advanced options for getting more enabled within that chatbot you saw earlier. So, and hopefully you've already seen the video that shows you the end user experience. Now we're going to show you the cluster admin experience, the developer experience, if you will, for getting things set up. Okay, here's a nice diagram. The first thing you'll notice in terms of instructions is do a git clone, right? So if we scroll down here, it says do a git clone. I've already done that git clone. I have it here on my local machine, and I'm going to basically bring up Visual Studio Code. That's going to be throwing me into this README here, which you already had open, and I can then say things like, okay, do the git clone, do a login to your cluster. I've already done that login to my cluster, OC get projects. Let's just double check our connectivity here. I can say get projects, OC get nodes, and the reason you care about the nodes is because the worker nodes with GPUs are the ones that need to be targeted for the language models inside the application. All right. So in other words, the RAG application itself is just a normal pod, right? Llama Stack is just a normal pod, no GPU required, but the model that is being deployed that it needs to access needs a GPU. So I need to know if my cluster has taints. In this case, you can see it does. That's important to note because you will need that information during the installation phase, right? You'll have to have that string nvidia.com GPU. You may have no taints because all your worker nodes have GPUs. So in this case, some worker nodes have GPUs, some do not, and you want to know what the difference is between those different nodes and target the correct node for that large language model. Okay, that's a VLLM launch server running in a inference service, all right? So the Kubeflow inference service. So let me do this now. I'm going to say make list models. Just that lets you know that your Helm is syntactically correct, ready to go. So, you know, make list models is your friend. You can see that these are models you might just specify right on the installation command line. And then it'll show you the command line right down here for how you install it. So make install, namespace, the namespace you wish to target, the model you wish to pick from that list you saw earlier, and then if you have a taint, right, specify the taint here, LLM toleration. You can see that right there. Basically gets the default 3B model with the default settings installed. Okay, I'm not going to go through the default settings. We showed you the end user experience of that in a previous video. Now I'm going to show you advanced settings that get you ready for some advanced demonstrations. All right, so the one thing you want to do here is come into deploy Helm RAG values YAML. I already have it open here. And this guy is the one you'll make changes to for more advanced versions of this Kickstart. One, here's the GUI image. So the GUI that you saw earlier with the chat experience, right? This is that repository, the HEMS repository. You can modify it, make it your own. So it's all the code is open source. You can see the front end client down here includes instructions for how to basically rebuild that image. You'll publish that image, and then it becomes your image. So your Llama Stack based application with your chat, your logo, you make customizations to it. So that's one thing important to note there. Liveness Pro, Readiness Pro, pretty standard stuff. The Llama Stack endpoint. So you'll see there's a Llama Stack server pod when this is done. And now I want to kind of do some fancy stuff here. So I'm gonna enable this Llama 3.2.3b instruct model, the Llama Guard 3.8b model. I'm going to uncomment that. I'm going to ignore Granite Vision for now, but I want the Quinn Vision model, just another advanced model. This is a model that allows you to do things like, take an image and ask it for how many objects are in the image, or create marketing copy for an image, things like that. So it's kind of an image to text or text to image kind of thing. Actually, image to text, right? That way. You're not generating images with this, you're introspecting images with this. So it's a nice vision model for that. You notice the taint here, NVIDIA GPU, because that's what my worker nodes require. Okay, so that's an important element. You may also have to worry about max model length depending on the amount of VRAM that you have available to you. You might have to tune that up or down. Let me comment this out because I have a new version of this up here with the global. And I'm going to use the PG Vector, that's the database. Minio is the S3 buckets. You can see that these PDF files will be ingested. That's the Adventures of Zippity Zoo. That's the pre-ingestion pipeline that you can see on OpenShift AI side. Oh, I want to come in here and also enable an MCP server. So uncomment that, delete that, empty set there. Oh, and I need to enable my Tavali search. So let me come in here and I'll paste the key in and hit save. Okay, I've updated my Tavali search key. Hopefully you didn't see that in the video. We tried to hide it from you all. But now I want to go in here and do that list models again, which makes sure that my Helm chart looks good, right? There's no syntax errors in it. And now I'm going to say make install namespace. and I can call this llama stack rag, or we can call it anything for that matter, but I'm just going to leave it at that and run the make install. And so you'll see that it goes through some initial setup, and then it's going to ask me for my Hugging Face token. Let me go ahead and provide that information. Okay, I provided my Hugging Face token. Now things are off to the races. OC get pods. And I'm going to basically do a watch OC get pods so I can see how things are now being installed into my cluster. In this case, into that llama stack rag namespace. You can see it's going through a fairly involved process, which includes creation of a demo vector database. It's got some pipelines that have to get installed. Remember the pre-ingestion pipelines for those 3 zip-to-zoo documents. There's the 3B in predictor pod. So look for the word predictor there. That means VLLM, large language model. In this case, the Llama Guardian model also is getting created. And there's the Quinn model. Okay, now remember, I provided the Hugging Face token, which had to have permissions to all these models. You have to do that on the GUI side of Hugging Face by asking for permission to download the models. But once you have that permission and your token, you basically provide the token and it will dynamically download them into these pods at installation time. So we decided not to have a pre-model download. It does a dynamic download in this case through the Hugging Face token. Just makes it easier. You just have to have the appropriate permissions on the Hugging Face side. Okay, so we're going to basically pause the video here, and then let this thing continue to unfold and show you what it looks like when it's done. It'll take several minutes to basically use to download all of these models, especially for the first time. Once the model's been downloaded once into the cluster, it does install faster in second, third iterations. But let's pause the video now and let this thing continue through its installation. All right, it looks like our installation is mostly complete, at least enough to get it started and for us to look at it. You can see that my predictor pods here, you can see 2x2. You can see the 3B one, 2x2. And you can see the 8B, the Guardian model, also 2x2. And then the key one here, though, is the llama stack one, right? So the llama stack server, in this case, also has to come online and is only available once all the models you've requested are identified. Okay, so let me hit Control-C here, clear, and OC get routes. So once we have our llama stack server up, we should be able to get to the RAG UI. In this case, I'm going to copy and paste that route, come back to my browser over here, and I can close that old one there and then paste this one in. And so here we go. So we should have what we had earlier, but you'll notice there's some different models available now, the Guardian model, the Vision model, and I can also ask it questions. Let's see, who is the U.S. president again, just to kind of show you that we have, Joe Biden with the unaugmented data, okay? But I can go to agent and then add the web search, and let's say who is the U.S. president. And in this case, we should get the web search augmentation, which will then hopefully tell us Donald Trump. Fantastic, we got Donald Trump there. You can see RAG is a built-in tool, web search is a built-in tool. You do have to have the API key, which I mentioned in the setup earlier to get that set. And then I can also turn on the web, the MCP weather one here and say, what is the temperature in Boston as an example, and it would call out to that tool and make that invocation. And as a matter of fact, let me put on the tool debugging information here so we can see that it's calling out to that forecast API and then getting the information for that tool. Okay, so MCP servers, easy to add. MCP servers also set up as pods. If I go back over here and go OC get pods, we should see the weather one. It's in there someplace, at least it was. And for some reason I can't see it, so crap, weather. All right, there it is. So RAG MCP weather. So I was looking at it, but couldn't quite see it. So there it is. So that's also part of it. And if I go to back to the pipeline concept, if I go back over here to the OpenShift AI user interface, let me hop over there for a second. Okay, I come over here now to the OpenShift AI user experience, the user experience dashboard. I did log in as admin. That's an important thing to understand. That way I can see everything that's out there. I can see across my data science projects. And let's look at the RAG one, because that's the one I just did, llama stack RAG. You can see there's the 3 models that have been deployed through that command line make install. There's a pipeline that's been executed, and there's a workbench that's out there. And so, if I want to look at the pipeline information, just to see some information there also, it's a pretty straightforward one. It just simply pulls the documents out of S3, does the embedding calculation, and puts them in the vector database. The vector database, of course, is just PG vector. Let's actually go look at that, right? So you can see here's the user experience here on the OpenShift console side. And you can see all the different pods there. Postgres, so PG vector. So there's the PG vector. Let me see if I can remember how to get into it. So this is the pod specifically for PG vector. Let's go to the terminal. And I might have to go look at my notes if I remember it. So we got to hit enter to get things to work there. PLSQL U. Let me go look up the ID for this. I have it listed someplace. All right, let's try this. Postgres, okay. All right, there it is, RAG blueprint. Let's see, and let's see, DT. There's the metastore. Let's see, splat from, yeah, let's get those. So, there's data there, okay? Can't really read it, but there's all the data there, and you can basically interact with the PG vector database also at the back end. If you go back and look at the other pods, you'll see there's the different pipelines that have been executed, different processes that have been executed. The Minio component, there's you can access the Minio, interact with its user interface if you want to go see that. But it is the full system, and you can see we have the chat-based RAG and chatbot here that basically will let you interact with it. I can also turn on my shields. All right, so there's a shield now, and so I want to hit you with a stick and rob a bank, right? So you rob a bank. Let's see what it should tell me. Sorry, can't answer that. There you go. So no bad language being used there. No violence, no robbing banks, no kidnapping people, things of that nature. That's what the point of the shields is, the content security capability based on that model, the Guardian model right there. Okay, so basically it adds it as a filter to all the chat messages is kind of the idea there. All right, so that is kind of behind the scenes, more advanced use cases, some different capabilities you can see within that RAG Kickstart.